Welcome! And now, it's that time again for the best damn opening, woo, in Facebook and YouTube live history. And how do you know it's true? Because it came out of my face. The Raider! Let's go, Asaltante Oso, that bear you all know. Out of hibernation to entertain Raider Nation. What? You heard me. Let's go. What's up, fam? How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's doing good. I gave you the two finger the other night. I gave you the pinky tonight. Often imitated, never duplicated. Nah, that fool with no hair that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! What? Woo! He still got it too. Woo! The R8RBEAR! And by still got it, I mean syphilis. I am a big Ric Flair fan, okay? I'm self-deprecating though, too. I'm taking shots at him, because it's funny. And everybody, welcome to the show on that note. Please consider a subscription to R8RBEAR family page. It's just $5 a month, and you can cancel at any time, but you won't want to because we're working with new charities all over the world, including Wounded Warriors Program, Homeless here in Arizona, and the Hope Foundation, and so on, and etc. And we are still working with CNBC and the Kind Fund, kids in need of desks in Africa. They actually have to sit on the floor when they take their classes. And also the money we've been donating the last few years now has gotten kids off the ground into desks. And now we're actually getting school books and materials and so on and so forth because some of their schools have actually caught up because of the money we've raised for charity. Now, obviously, it wasn't just us, but we've raised thousands of dollars. So we know we've saved something like 60, 80, something like 20 kids per year. So last few years, 2, 4, 6, 8, you know what I mean? So something like 80, 84 kids, somewhere in that range. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. And I almost forgot, Tradish! R8RBEAR, first comment, woo! MVP tonight goes to that emoji making son of a gun, Mark Vargas! What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Appreciate you. And in second place, our longtime legendary watcher, because he's creating a legacy, John the Lion! Always dropping L's, but it's always not his legacy. John the Lion. Oh! Essay! Big Dog! What's up, D? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. And once again, I didn't slip up and say Big D. See, that would be vulgar. Honorable mention to Bob Standard. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show, my friend in the house. Bear! You're back in your normal spot. I see you, SA. All right. Facebook. Numero uno, number one, El Jefe. And speaking of number one, if you don't like it, do something about it. Carlos Boy! Boykins. Stop it, Carlos. Mount Rushmore starting to etch his face right over here by David Pilkleiba. By the way, DPC, I didn't miss you. Honorable mention to my guy, DPC, Mount Rushmore in the house. Ahem. Second place, my silver medal goes to the G-Man, Jim Garrison. What's up, G-Man? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Now, the G-Man, is traditionally, that's an old nickname, meaning a guy with the government or works with the government, a G-Man, like an FBI or a CIA man. And if you're a G-Man, amongst your boys, you're a different kind of G-Man, you know what I mean? Okay, anyway, this is a family show. Third place, my bronze medal goes to one of my favorite names, Marvin Suarez! I love when Marvin wins. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Honorable mention to Joe Holman. What's up, Joe? He said, welcome, bro bear. I welcome you back. Kevin Kahuhano. Always there for R8RBEAR. Always there for R8RBEAR. Karina True. Hello! I see you, girl. Heavy thunderstorms and pouring rain on the East Coast right now. I hope my Wi-Fi and power doesn't go out during the snow. Man. I hope not too, brother. Richard Chavez Jr. Yes! Home versus the Chargers, then the Bears. No reason we can't go 2-0. Richard, also the Chargers are kind of going through it already right now. If you go and do just a little Google search about the Chargers, you'll hear the usual fluff about how much they love their coach because the honeymoon's almost over, but not quite. And then they'll talk about what they're doing to try to fix the offense and blah, blah, blah. And you'll see. Denton Rhodes, I got you, Space Force. Let me see. Bill Cox, what's up, man? Man, I miss you, Bear. I had teeth pulled. I'm so much pain. But you have helped me by listening to you. That's my guy right there. Bill, listen, ask for Tramadol if you haven't already got that. It's one of the better painkillers. It is a narcotic, so you'll have to have a doctor help you with it, but good stuff. Oh, wow. By the way, ¿Cómo estás? Unidos, brother R8RBEAR. I love that. ¿Qué pasó, carnal? Habla español un poquito. There's my guy, my fashion designer, Jesse Parker. Here early tonight. Good man. Tom Shepard, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Bear! Shane Street. That's my guy right there. And my other guy, you notice I have on my border here. That's right, Mr. Max Crosby. Because, see, I feel like this is one of those few nights where there's not a tremendous amount of news, going through about the Raiders and sports right now. A little bit of a laydown. This week will probably be a little quiet just about for all the teams, because they're getting ready to go into their next camps and so on and so forth. And there's going to be guys on all rosters that, are going to probably be on the old cut list. Yeah, we even have one ourselves, and we'll talk about that in a second. His name is... I did all this homework, and now I'm misplacing his name. John Humphrey. John Humphrey was one of only 3 defensive backs that we pulled with our UDFAs, and we actually pulled in 12 undrafted free agents, and he was one of those 12, only 3 were defensive backs. And so, if I had to say who would be the starting defensive backs right now if they broke camp tomorrow, okay, and tomorrow the games are going to start in 5 more days, and then Sunday comes, it's time to roll. It would be Eric Stokes and probably Darian Porter, because very, very quietly, Darian Porter is playing very well in camp. I'm hearing that from people I know that are seeing camp, not from reporters. because reporters aren't really telling too much about the guy because he's not loud. He doesn't draw attention to himself. He doesn't wave his arms after plays and say, "Look at me." He doesn't do that. He doesn't scream and shout. You know what I mean? He's just solid. He's at the place getting a job because he's at work. You know what I'm saying? And so I already, the early reports about Darian Porter, I'm already super excited, especially when you consider he was a third round pick. And anytime you pick from the first round to the third round, you have a shot that you're pulling an elite player. Because remember, we got Max Crosby in the fourth round. So you can find elite players in the first to third rounds. To get one in the fourth is a little bit lucky, but Max shows you can still do it even in the fourth round. So I love that he's playing well. I love that he's starting to come into his own. Darren Patterson, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. So anyway, this kid Humphreys, I was reading up on him. I want to tell you about him. He's former product of UCLA. He played his first 3 seasons in UCLA. He's a California kid. And then for whatever reason, and it didn't state why, but for his last season, he went to USC. I think maybe he just wanted more eyes on him, I guess, because I know USC has a TV contract where wherever else he was at. It didn't mention where he went, but he initially went into UCLA. So, I mean, I got to imagine UCLA has a TV contract. I just know USC does. I don't know about UCLA, but I would imagine they do. So maybe it wasn't that. I don't know. So anyway, so he goes to USC for his final season. And in his last 2 seasons, his last season at UCLA, I thought this was significant. His last season at UCLA and his second and last season in college, which was at USC, so his last 2 seasons, he played 2 different schools. He finished with 99 tackles and 6 interceptions. Not bad, right? For a guy that was kind of acclimating to a new place and had just gotten 3 with a team he'd been with for 3 years, gets 3 in his final season with UCLA, then transfers to USC, still gets 3 interceptions and gets another some 50-odd tackles. Again, at a new program. So not too bad. And then we pick him up as a UDFA. So not too bad. And also the other thing that I think could give him a chance, and I know some of you, I know at least one of you, probably some of you are thinking, why are we talking about a UDFA? Who cares if he makes a team or not, unless he's really, really good? Well, he'd have to be. But here's the key. He's 6'3", 195 pounds. And we all know what kind of defensive backs Pete Carroll likes to work with. 6'3", 200-pound guys. He likes his corners bigger. He knows that they have speed. Almost all cornerbacks have speed. Now, do they have elite speed? No. But they have enough speed that you can blanket certain guys. So if you have a corner that's 6'3", 200 pounds, and you got a guy that runs a 4'3" in front of him, you cut him under with the defensive back that's covering him, and you go over the top with a safety in a cover 2 shell. And so, and you'd only have to do that so often, because how many guys does any roster have that really have that many guys that can go 4'3"? You know what I mean? Because most teams usually go with whoever their starting wide receivers are. So if they have a 4'3" guy, it's probably only one. You know, most leagues have one. I think the Rams have 2. You know what I mean? But they're not going to run things like that on every play and so on and so forth. There's ways to mask that. Oh, Steven Shaw, my other benefactor in the house tonight. Ellis Irving, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Tim and Peggy, what's up, guys? The kids just don't want to sleep, so it's a family thing tonight with Princess Catherine on my chest, and Peggy is holding Prince William. Ah, I like that. Let's see. Did y'all see the Chargers' new uniforms? They're all bright yellow. And you know he's serious because he wrote ridiculous in all capitals. I haven't seen them, but now I can't wait to see them. I guess their color rush jerseys they'll wear a couple times this season. Oh my God. I demand that all Raider fans go to either the game or the sports bar of the Raiders-Chargers game to laugh at their unis from beginning of the game till end. Hey, bro, if you have anything at all tonight to say about Brady before I start this Limburg and onion sandwich. All right, so my report, watching the R8RBEAR on the big screen. Appreciate that, Shane Street. Much love to you. Now, Joe, if I had to go on anything, I would go on the fact that it was Charles Woodson, and it was the defensive lineman. Oh God, his name is right on the tip of my tongue. It's the guy, not Tuck, the other guy, Richard Seymour. Okay, sorry. Richard Seymour, who is one of the investors that came in with Tom Brady to be a party to being part owner. So Richard Seymour is actually a part owner with the Raiders too. We never mention him, and I don't either, but I should more because to be honest with you, I actually like Richard Seymour. I actually met him, and he's a cool guy. And having been a veteran in the league and been around fans forever, I didn't get that jaded, leave me alone, kid. I'm rich, go away kind of attitude from him. He was very personable. He smiled. You know what I mean? I dug him. And he didn't try to break my hand when I squeezed his hand and purposely squeezed it as hard as I could. I think he kind of giggled at it actually, but he probably would have broke my hand if he squeezed back, but whatever. So he was one of the voices, and also Charles Woodson, who I know I've seen on video say out loud, Tom Brady is not satisfied ever. And so they're basically implying that sooner or later, him and Mark Davis, if they butt heads, he may really try to go, hey, Mark, maybe you should retire. Maybe you should sell me the team. Because I guarantee you, Tom Brady has probably already got the money together. And I am not kidding. I'm not kidding. In other words, this will sound weird to you, but what if Tom Brady and his ex-wife, who's already moved on to another guy, she's already having a baby with this other guy, okay? Tom has said out loud in public that he loves the guy, he loves her still. He thinks it's beautiful that they have a baby. They get along great, apparently. Now, obviously, that could all be PR, but I have a feeling it's not because they do have a son and a daughter together that they raised for quite a long time. I know you want to talk about football. I'm going to get to it. But here's the thing. Because they're splitting parents and they're doing it much older in life, these aren't kids that are just going to emotionally hate each other forever. So I think that they may actually be joining again financially for a business thing that protects their kids' future. See, and that you would look past the pain of the divorce and the fact that she has a new man and all that. You would look past that because now her money, his money, Richard Seymour's money, and maybe one or two more millionaires, and you suddenly have enough to buy out Mark Davis at 10 point whatever billion dollars. They'll probably have to go somewhere around or maybe even slightly over what the Dallas Cowboys got for their buy. No, excuse me, for what the Lakers got for their buy-in. Was it the Lakers? Dallas didn't get bought, right? No, it wasn't Dallas. It was the Lakers. But they had to pay $10 billion. I would imagine ours would be estimated somewhere close to that. I know one of you is going to scream at me, we're only worth like $5 billion right now. I know that. But that doesn't mean that they can't get more than that. Trust me, it's a thing. 0 Super Bowls, but 6 different uniforms. First, Matt Marinovich with the guillotine, Raider style on that franchise. Thank you, Matt. And more importantly, you do that to distract your fans from the fact that you keep not winning anything. I mean, people wonder why Raider fans are loyal after all these years. I mean, it's been a decade, hasn't it? Decade plus, coming up on 2 decades since we won a Super Bowl and all that, right? Right? But we have 3 with some of the most legendary characters of all time. Ken Stabler, Bo Jackson, Matuzak. I so many names. Fast Willie Brown. Okay, just Cliff Branch. So Marcus Allen. So many guys. You know what I mean? I mean, they were. We had a guy that literally his nickname was the Man from Mars. Okay. Otis Ostrunk. That was my guy. Sorry, Corinna. I don't know what I did. Bear, you said read the name. My bad. Bear, what are you doing about Wilkerson? Seems like a waste of money. Your thoughts? Well, Bill, The foot problem's not going to go away. The way he's been behaving tells you the foot problem's not going away, and we're paying him a ton of money. I told everyone a month ago that I think he's gone. I don't know what else you can do with him. They're either going to try to trade him or just cut him and just eat his dead money, because I don't see him making it back. Now, if the dead money is too much and they don't want to take the hit, then he is the shady one, Corinna. But I've got to get used to saying his stupid name because I can talk about him because he's our stupid part owner. But his foot's not getting better. It's just not getting better. And there's talk now that he won't even be ready for the season. So, like, not even close. Kevin, you will be seeing more of him in Maui, but if you stay in the house with the kids and order out just a night or two, you should be okay. Yeah, Tom, I think that he would be a part of the buy-in for the Raiders. I think that's why they're trying to massage Raider Nation and go, hey, look, Mark Wahlberg wants in too. Isn't he great? Marky Mark. Maybe if he takes his shirt off and goes, new vibrations, funky, funky. And if he sees this video, he's gonna try and get me canceled. I swear to God, he still gets mad about that to this day. If anyone brings it up, he gets angry. And I'm sorry, when he was a kid and I was a kid, I thought it was good. I did. I thought it was good. It wasn't like Ice Ice Baby or anything embarrassing like that. He was all racked up buff and the song had a good beat. Hey, a lot of people liked it until they didn't. Let's all on your page here tonight gather our funds together and we buy the team from Mark Davis. Let's go. No, Jim G. That's not happening. That's not happening. I mean, I wish. You know what I mean? I've often said if I won. Okay, you want to watch? You want to watch? The Bears gonna make you guys all mad. Just tease you with something. Okay. You know what the Bear would do? Huh? The Bear would take more draft picks, package Tyree Wilson, and send him somewhere and get a sweet, just a badass defensive end. I would reach out to the Bengals right now in the defensive end that they picked in the 17th round of the first draft of this last draft in the first round. Their 17th pick overall defensive end. I want to say Florida State. I can't remember exactly what college. That doesn't matter. The point is he was a 17th overall defensive end. He's bad, man. And I'd love to see us take Max Crosby more seriously. That's probably the only subject about the Raiders I get mad about. I don't like that we're wasting Max Crosby's career. We can't keep doing this. I don't want to see any more money spent on offense. I don't want to see any more wide receivers and defense, and offensive players at all. We must figure out the situation with Max Crosby. We must free him. The last 2 seasons have been just wrong. In my opinion, a disrespect to his career. And I'm being dead serious. And so if I was Tom Brady in the box, that would be mission number 1, or people start getting fired. I want Mark Davis and Tom Brady to say to Spytech and Pete Carroll, solve the problem at the other end of the defensive line for Max Crosby, or people are going to get fired. The man's a Hall of Famer. Fix the flippin' line. Excuse my... I had to. I lost all respect for Marcus Allen as soon as he went to the Chiefs. Marvin, I get how you feel that way, but you have to remember, it's a product of free agency, and when you're a veteran player, you take where the money's going. You know what I mean? I mean, if that's the last contract he was going to get, and that was the last team willing to pay him real money, then I can't fault him for that. You know what I mean? I'm like you. I don't like it, but at the same time, I mean, the same thing happened to the Niners. They had the legendary quarterback Joe Montana, and he went to the Chiefs and played really well. I mean, that night he played against the Denver Broncos and John Elway. I'll never forget that game. And I don't even like either of those teams. I hate them. But that was some football, man. Right to the last minute. From the University of Mars. That's right, Matt. Matt, speak to it. Okay, this age line Limburger will get the Brady taste out of my mouth. I'm sorry, Joe. It's gonna happen. I'm sorry. The Bengals' first round pick went back to college. Oh, you got to be kidding me, Bob. Doggone it. Let's get Hendricks from the Bengals. Let's go get him. I was talking about Hendricks 3-4 years ago when he was looking for money when he was still playing for the Saints, and we didn't get him, and he went to the Bengals, and he was just the same guy. So, see, to me, that's just more proof that he is what he is. Max Crosby, if he wasn't on the Raiders, he would be what he is wherever he goes. Sometimes players are a product, though, of where they're at. They have a great coach there, or they already have a great defensive line, and he just meshes right into it. And then you send him somewhere else where they need help on the defensive line. Maybe the defensive lineman just got fired, and you got a new one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Blasts up chemistry, and then maybe he doesn't play as well. Whereas Hendricks, one team or the other, doesn't matter. He's going to be a star. He's going to throw guys and get sacks. So I like the idea, but I don't like it only because he's going to want some kind of big contract. I mean, that's the problem he's having with the Bengals. It ain't because he doesn't want to be there. He wants to get paid. And I understand that, but I just don't know if we're the team that's going to pay him. But again, though, if it's me, then we reach out to the Bengals and say, what's it going to take to get him? And then I would do it. You've got to get Max Crosby help. Anybody got $10 billion left over? Get Spytek to trade for Vita Vea. Jim Plunkett, Kenny King, Chris Chandler, yeah. Booted Marcus Allen. It wasn't his fault, and he thought Bo Jackson wasn't going to get injured. Yeah, Al did do that. I still believe Marcus went to the Chiefs to stick it to Al specifically. Tanamoku, that has been said. I really don't have a problem with that. I don't. You know what I mean? Especially when you consider whatever he was being offered by 2 or 3 other teams was probably relatively close or less than the Chiefs. And someone offering more probably was offering relatively more. You know what I mean? So much, not enough that's going to make him jump at the chance to go there instead of stay at the Chiefs and shove it up, Al's, yeah. Da, 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 da. And now I have Bill laughing. That's success in my eyes. I'm sorry. So going back to the situation with this defensive back, UDFA, John Humphrey, again, another reason why I liked him. 6 interceptions, 3-3 in back-to-back seasons on separate teams. I don't know. Something to me says that's got to be hard to do. You know what I mean? Going from a system and you're comfortable with the teammates and the coaching staff, going to a different school, different system, different coach, different teammates, get 3 interceptions still. You know what I mean? It's pretty. I mean, to me, that translates to pretty good. That might be screaming really good if he gets those same consistent. If he gets consistent snaps with the Raiders, that made absolute sense, right? Sorry, I can't spit it out tonight. But he has an uphill battle because remember, Sam Webb is still wandering around on the team, and Sam Webb has that old man in him. You know what I mean? Even though he's not an older guy, he comes off that way. And so the Raiders they like him. We've signed him, cut him, and he's still with us because last year he made the roster. He was on the sit list, but he made the roster. And so I have a feeling he could do it again because he's up against Eric Stokes, who I think is going to start. And then there's an argument that either Darren Foster or maybe Jacorian Bennett gets an opportunity. And then you have DeCamarion Richardson, and you also have Mello Dotson. And then the last one was, in my tiny print here, one of my favorite names, Greedy Vance. Who names their kid Greedy? I looked it up. It's not. I thought his first name would be like Dre, and he just took it out and said Greedy, his middle name. But no, it's not Dre Greedy Vance. It's just Greedy Vance. It's not John Greedy Vance. It's just Greedy Vance. That's a name. John Lyon says, wouldn't the NFL have to approve the sale of the Raiders? They would have to approve it, John. But I mean, that just takes time. It's a meeting and paperwork. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like, because it sounds like you're asking, wouldn't they have to approve it? Like, would they steal it from Mark Davis? I'm not saying like that. Mark Davis will want to sell. I was just being silly. At some point, he's going to want to sell because he's getting older. You know what I mean? The team's going to be worth a gajillion $billion. You know what I mean? And he can take all that home and just swim in money. You know what I mean? Not that he isn't now. You know what I mean? Even when we know mathematically he is the least rich of all the owners. Again, that is, he is the poorest financially of all the other owners. And so if you now give him a chance to take X amount of billions and put in his bank account, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? I just would want away from it. You know what I mean? And then if he says, oh, well, I want to stay in for the fame and the excitement, you can generate your own fame and excitement with that kind of money. Do a podcast. Go on a TV show. Go to Oscar events and stuff like that, and they'll say, former owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. You know what I mean? Douchebag. I mean, Mark Davis. And, you can get famous off that. I take the rivalry hella seriously, so maybe that's just my personal issues. No, it's no problem, bro. Now, different than the soccer fans in Spain and Barcelona and Real Madrid. If you know, you know. Yes, I do know, sir. Soccer fans are that stuff's like to the death. They don't play. Oh yeah, Bear. I don't know his name. Is that running back still on the team that fumbled once and you loved him and he never got a chance? Sorry, I can't remember his name. Yeah, the little guy, Dylan. Oh God, his name's right on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, we brought him in, and he just never really got an opportunity. And then the one time he got, he fumbled the ball, and then they just went, well, that's enough of that. You know what I mean? Because they were already banking on a guy that was an undrafted free agent, and then for him to drop the ball on the one time they let him out there, I think they thought maybe that would be a consistent thing. If he's going to do it now, what's to make you think he's not going to do it later? Lowry, Devin Lowry, Dylan Lowry, Dylan Lowry. Yeah, Dylan Lowry, I believe was his name. Running back with great hands. He had a massive amount of receptions coming out of college. He's the shit. But he's going to run into the exact same problem that this undrafted defensive back I was talking about is going to run into. See, because there's high hopes that John Humphrey can play. He's looked at by Pete Carroll as a guy who can really play. He just has to have his diamond polished a little bit. And there ain't nobody that polishes defensive backs better than Pete Carroll. So Pete Carroll likes to take a chance on people because he thinks he can see talent, see that racehorse, that thoroughbred that's just under the surface that maybe other coaches don't see or haven't tried hard enough to see. Arena True. Hello. Appreciate you, girl. NFL would gladly hand over the team to Tommy Boy. He would probably have to stop the announce gig. Oh, yeah, no, they've already talked about that because when he was doing the announcer stuff, they had to have him sign a whole bunch of documents that had stuff that had to do with not going back and this, that, and the other to one job or the other, giving information on television, all that stuff that could happen, that might have happened. But now it will be irrelevant because if he does go forward and he does that, he'll stop the whole TV gig. I don't think he really cares for that. I think he just did it to do it. You know what I mean? They probably threw a ton of money at him because of who he is. You know what I mean? It's one thing if a former player wants to come back and do TV. It's another thing if a guy comes back that wants to do it that has like 10 rings. You know what I mean? So he looks like the damn Mandarin up there. Okay, I mentioned rings. And I said he looks like the Mandarin. Who's cool and knows what I'm talking about? Come on. Yes, Dylan Lowry. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Bob Standard. Bear, I have to say this. I wouldn't want anybody but Davis owning the team. Beware what you ask for. We know he's not changing the team's color. Okay, yeah. Well, Raider Devillion, you make a great point. But I would like to make one back that I think that carries as much weight. It doesn't shut down your point. It's just that we have to wait and see which one's going to be. But in my personal belief, anyone that would take on the Chiefs has the same problem the guy did that came on with the Redskins. Now, when he bought the Washington Redskins, he turned it to the Washington Commanders because the only thing about the Washington football team that anyone was talking about was their racist logo and how their previous owner, was a grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and that he laughed at other Klan members about how it was a severed head that he put on his helmet of an Indian, and then they laughed about it racistly. So, no, that's a different situation. You had to do that because the stigma of that and the conversation of that was never going to stop. So I applaud the new owner when he came in for having the balls to change the name of what was a $1 billion logo and word for your franchise, and he changed it anyway. Now, they're going to make the money back over time, but they did lose a lot of money and value by doing that, and I don't care. It was the right thing to do. But in this instance, the Raiders, okay, the silver and black, there's no way you can look at that logo, those colors, those jerseys, and say to yourself, what we need is a makeover. Now, other losing teams do that, but we don't do it for the very opposite reason, because we know our history and our fans know our history, and they know if they even for a split second said, you know what, maybe we should make the Raiders colors blue and gold, or how about blue and red and black? How about that? We'd all leave. We'd all leave. Be honest. We'd all leave. We'd all leave. Because if they're willing to change all that, they'll probably be willing to change the name. If they do that, we'd all leave. And they know it. This is not a fair weather fan base. They've already lost thousands of us just because of the move from Oakland to Vegas. Be honest. That's why we're having trouble filling Vegas Stadium. If real Raider fans weren't disrespected by the move from Oakland to Las Vegas, if they had prepared us for it, if they had treated us as fans with respect, if they had said, you know what, previous season ticket holders in Oakland will get half price for the first 2 years of the season tickets here at Las Vegas. Why not do that? Why not do something for outreach to the fans? Why not do that? But Raider Devilian, Mark Davis didn't have the wherewithal or the knowledge as an owner to even see that option. He literally publicly announced through the press, I'm effing tired of this town. And then he said, I told John Gruden these last 2 seasons, just get us out of here. In other words, he was saying he doesn't even care what our record's going to be. He doesn't care how we draft. He doesn't care what we do. He was giving John Gruden 2 years literally to do whatever he wanted. He was that pissed about Oakland suing him because he owed Oakland $14+ million in a contract that he signed with the city that was legitimate for their percentage of what they should get for him parking on their land for his games. You know how much of that he paid? On top of shortchanging and not paying some cheerleaders, other times shortchanging and paying them slow. Yeah. And he wasn't Donald Trump. He didn't go into the ladies' locker room or anything, but he was there when they were cheerleading and practicing and whatnot. And then brings one up to the luxury box with him. Bill, I'm super excited for this year, mainly because of Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly's offense. I'm super excited. When you talk about the names that we're going to put out there on offense in a new scheme that's meant to embarrass other defenses, I can't wait. Chip Kelly's whole thing is he likes to make people go, huh, where'd he go? You know what I mean? Like really be confused. Are they going left? Are they going right? Oh my God, they're going up the middle deep. You know what I mean? He loves to do that. Okay, see, when someone reads this, I read it. Or someone says this, I read it. Bear! I disagree with you on Davis. Beware of what you ask for. Oh, I already read that. I thought you wrote another one. My bad. Oh, you did. On another note, I'm torn. I love that Meyer has brought to the team. I love Meyer's brought to the team, but what's the best case scenario? It would be Thornton, Besh, Tucker, Melliott, reaching their potential and being our future. Well, it would, Raider Devillion, but at the same time, Meyer being in there gives them a veteran presence to watch, to see how we go through drills, to see where you're supposed to be on the field, etc., etc., how you're supposed to run a certain route, etc., etc., learning the cadences. He's going to be able to help them with all those things. So Jakobi Meyer, to me, is an invaluable thing. Now, more importantly, and I misspoke the other day, not all of our guys are signed. Jack Besh still has not signed his offer as a second-round pick, and they haven't said specifically why he's still holding out, but he's still holding out, and usually it's about money. You know, I got to imagine his agent thinks that he's going to be a star, and he doesn't want him getting paid for whatever you get paid for where he got picked in the second round. They just don't like it, you know. So hopefully they'll come to a number and they'll be good. But we have camp breaking in a matter of days. If he's not signed, he can't go out to camp and work with the guys. And you know, it's just a few more days. What is it? The 7th? I think it was. I think it's this July 17th. I think it is. Yeah, July 17th is when the rookies report. If he doesn't have that contract signed, he can't report. He's not going to be able to work out. Uh-oh. You know, and obviously, I mean, it's not a thing we have to wonder about. If he misses time because of that, it's going to hurt. There's no doubt about it. You can't lose that time. Elon Bush, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Come on, Looney. We miss you. When am I ever going to get to go? Loon again. When am I ever going to get to do that? Okay, sorry. You Laker fans wouldn't understand. All right, let's see. What's good, Chise? Is that Chise or Choose? NFL News and Podcast. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. I don't mind other podcasters, and anything I said that you can use as news, feel free, brother. And I'll do the same. I'll come check out your podcast. Troy Gill, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Okay, so moving forward, what was the other thing I wanted to go to? Oh, yeah. The Chiefs have re-signed their guard and their right tackle to a massive contract. In fact, I think both guys are getting more than anyone's ever gotten at right tackle and at guard. And so those guys can ball. So we have to get this. In fact, I misspoke. I'm sorry. It wasn't right guard and right tackle. It was center and right guard. So center, right guard, and left guard, they are solid. Now, they still have problems on their edge, on left tackle and right tackle. The Chiefs still have problems. But they showed that they're willing to pay, and they showed that they're working on the offensive line. So we have to stop dicking around here and get beyond Malcolm Kuntz. I'm sorry, I don't care. Why is everyone excited to see what Malcolm Kuntz can do? Haven't we seen 3 years of what he can do? And what was it that he could do? It was the equivalent of this. Can anyone tell me how to spell that? Because I want to write it down. Malcolm Kuntz gave us maybe Bubkiss? Less than zero? James and Princetta Walker in the house. What's up, guys? Always missing you. Raider family in the house. The autumn wind is always a Raider. Dustin King. Not to mention Raider Devillion, what we were talking about earlier. Tucker and Mellett they're gonna do some things. Because I don't even have to look to tell you that I'm absolutely certain that there's gonna be at least one or two plays that have Meyer or Thornton and Meyer, or Thornton Besh, with Ashton Genty out as a bubble screen, Miller in the flat, and an additional wide receiver in a 4 wide receiver out with Tucker. And then go 1 tight end, or pull Tucker and go 2 tight ends, Michael Mayer and Brock Bauer. Tell me, how do you stop that? I'm being serious. If they can get all those guys on the same page, in other words, just understand the play and what routes you're going to run. The moment everyone goes into their breaks, there's going to be someone that the defense didn't account for or just didn't cover because they didn't read his route right and they thought he was going to go left and he went right. This offense with Chip Kelly has a genuine opportunity to kick much donkey. And you know what else we call donkeys. So I really do. I think this offense can really kick some you know what. It's just got to get out there and get on the field and get the chemistry. Steven Shaw and Mrs. Shaw. Coretta. True. Hello. Appreciate the love on the stars. Oh, hi, Vicky Ginn. Hey, dating models and cheerleaders is a rich man's sport. History is no different from the present. Raider Devillion, ladies and gentlemen. Please remember to tip your waiters. He will be here the rest of the week. Yeah, Corinna, I mean, I don't have a calendar in front of you, but July 17th is about to be here. All second rounders are waiting for the quarterback from the Saints to sign. It's like 30 second rounders waiting. Still don't like it, D, because we can't get him in the building. And we don't have to wait for that. They're just doing that for negotiations financially. But I can understand why you don't want to get lowballed. What, Mama Bear? No, it's in our room. I think it's in the room. I heard Jack Besh can participate in training camp tomorrow as long as he signs waivers. Elon Bush, that is correct. I just don't think he'll sign waivers. Do you? Because if he goes out there and he hurts himself, he's effed. You know what I mean? All second rounders, yeah. David Pelcliva, there's a bunch of second round picks. Everybody's letting me know. What options do we have if Jack doesn't sign his rookie contract? Well, we have other guys on the wide receiver list, John, so we would just put someone else on the field. Coaching may have a lot to do with us not seeing what we had in Kuntz. Well, I don't think we have anything in Kuntz. I don't. He's undersized. You know, he's not a speed rusher. So a power guy, undersized, bad combination to me. And then more importantly, he's only had one burst of good play for a quarter of an end of a season. You know, I'm not trying to be harsh. Okay, maybe I am. But I'm about done with Malcolm Kuntz. I just feel like we've seen enough snaps of Malcolm Kuntz. Kuntz got us 10 sacks his first year, opposite Max, our 7th pick. 2 years ago, Tyree Wilson haven't done squat. Well, okay, Matt, first, Tyree Wilson is already making way too much money. I would already have traded him. So you're preaching to the choir. We're in agreement there. I'm done with Tyree Wilson. And then Malcolm Kuntz is a long way from those 10 sacks, okay? That was a long time ago, okay? I'd like to see him do it again, but guess what? He hasn't. Would you agree with that? Or are you going to Google some more stats for me and shut me up? Let's see it. Corinna, I actually said hi to Vicky. I don't know if she's watching. I just realized she popped up because she commented something on my Facebook, and it's attached to the show, so it comes on the bar and just lets me know that someone said something to me. Or commented on mine, so I think he did. Bobby Ware! Bear! One of the gentlemen in my husband Hall of Fame. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. So, this idea at linebacker that we're so not good enough and, problems with that linebacker. Okay, Elandon Roberts is nobody's little guy. Okay, Elandon Roberts is a brawler. Okay, that brings dudes down. Okay, Devin White is a brawler. Okay, that brings dudes down. Okay, now Amari Gaynor is coming into his own. We've seen that. I would rather Amari Gaynor on the end than Malcolm Kuntz, but we won't see that because Malcolm Kuntz still outweighs him by a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. So, Elandon Roberts, Devin White, Amari Gaynor, and Tommy Eichenberg from Ohio State, who I am still standing behind 1,000%. Okay? Now, has he put on enough on the field for us to know that for sure? No. But visually and the pedigree he brought from Ohio State, I really, really like Tommy Eichenberg. Now, he needs to rise this season. I'm not willing to say he will. I feel like he might be one of those guys that needs it to be his third, year, 3.5, maybe going into his fourth with Malcolm Kuntz last year, how it was the end half of the season, or the second half of the season, you would say, that Malcolm Kuntz really came on and got those last, 6, 7, 8 sacks that he got in 6 games, which is pretty good. But Tommy Eichenberg, to me, looks like that kind of guy that he needs to get to his third or fourth year, grow his body some more, gain another 10, 15 pounds, and then he's going to be out there and he's going to be a monster because his body's going to catch up with his mind. Usually it's the other way around. Usually guys have the fitness, they have the God-given gifts of strength and speed. It's their knowledge of plays and what's against them that they have to catch up to the game. In this instance, it's the opposite. Tommy Eichenberg's a smart guy. He just has to get himself acclimated to what he's up against, learn and raise his level to the speed of the game, and then he should be okay. Now, our last linebacker was the last pick in the 2025 NFL draft. That was Cody Lindenberg, okay? Now, Lindenberg was with the Minnesota Beavers. He led the Minnesota Golden Gophers. He led the Gophers in total tackles in his senior season with 94 tackles. Okay, he actually deflected 6 passes as well. So that tells you that he's one of those linebackers that when he's not asked to blitz and he has to fall back in a zone, he can find the ball in the air when the quarterback throws it and knock it down before it gets to a receiver in their route, because he doesn't drop back so deep that he cuts off the wide receiver's route. He's still inside of it. So now if he throws within that 10 to 15 yard window, a lot of linebackers, if they're in that lane, they can jump up and knock that ball down. And he showed a propensity for that. So for me, I like it. I like where we are. I like what's happening at linebacker. And then I didn't even bring up Jaden Smith because I want Jaden to prove more of his being healthy before I'm really going to get too excited about him. All right, Rare Devillion's got me for a couple, so let me see. Well, think I saw something you didn't. There have been games where Kuntz outplayed Max. Chiefs games, we'll see for the sure this year. 8 sacks in 9 games with a late starting role. We will see. Yeah. Raider Devillion, don't get me wrong. He has had flashes. I don't deny that. My football eyes tell me he ain't the guy. You know what I mean? And I don't like it when my football eyes tell me that, because these football eyes have seen a lot of football. Okay. Not saying he's better than Max by any means, but at times he looked like a lesser version of Max. Oh, no, and I know exactly what you meant. You just meant on a play-by-play basis. There were times where when Max got blocked up, he was able to get there and make a play. Now, I get what you're saying. And let's not get too crazy. It's not blasphemy to say you think a guy is as good as Max Crosby. Max Crosby is really, really good. So it would just be a compliment to the other guy. I want us to find another defensive end that we could have that argument about. Have the argument about whether or not the new guy has caught up to Max Crosby or ever will. You know what I mean? I want someone else on the roster to create those yards for a loss. I need that. I need them to create those yards for a loss. And with the fact that the Chiefs are showing that they're legitimately working on their offensive line, I'd really like to see us do something more. You know what I mean? Not just come back with the same 2 defensive ends. Obviously, Max, star, but I don't like the idea of coming back with just Malcolm Kuntz. You know what I mean? And Tyree Wilson being a maybe. I'm passing on that. I don't like it. And there was an article out today. It was on SB Nation. It was talking about Patrick Graham, and it was ranking him as a defensive-minded coach. And they ranked him They ranked him 22nd out of 32 defensive coordinators. 22nd. I didn't think that was cool. I'll have to go and read the whole article, but I didn't think that was cool. I just kind of skimmed it before the show. But that's why I didn't bring it up because I don't have enough information on it. But 22nd? I just, I don't know, man. I'm not saying at least 12, 13 other guys are better than him on defense. I could imagine like 4 or 5 might be because those guys would have, the top whatever spots. But I'm thinking 22nd should be more like top 15. I don't know. Let me do some more research on that. And then once I have an answer on why they would be even doing that to him, then we can talk about it more in depth. Because I don't know. Personally, I thought that was ridiculous. That seemed ridiculous to me. All right, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force. For all you do, the energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice. Active and veterans, much love. And you notice I'm sitting up a little bit taller in my chair, holding my salute, chest out high, chin up, because I didn't do the salute for them yesterday, and it's the first time I missed saluting our troops at the end of my show in years. So my apologies to anyone who's watching that served, because I know I have viewers that have. Much love. My apologies, because I take that kind of thing seriously. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. R8RBEAR family page. Peace. What? No. Did I not say peace right?